but we as a continent have now defined ourselves.
In the news, President Buhari appoints Lieutenant Colonel Y.M. Dodo as his new ADC. Nigerian politicians train their children in UK schools with stolen public funds, UK report. On the international scene, World Bank commits $12 billion for vaccination in Africa. A World Health Organization virus probe team visits China propaganda exhibit hospital in Wuhan. In business, NNPC pledges support for $3.6 billion brass methanol plant. And in sports, 36-line product Junior Ajayi and Al Hakli touchdown in Qatar for FIFA Club World Cup. Details shortly. Hello, welcome to TOS TV, your digital-first Pan-African network. I am Nkamiang John, and this is TOS News 360. Latest reports from Nigeria's presidency say President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed Academy Adjutant of the Nigerian Defense Academy NDA, Lieutenant Colonel Y.M. Dodo, as his new AD camp. Dodo takes over from Colonel M.L. Abubakar, who's proceeding to attend a promotion course, and on completion of the course, he is to be promoted to the rank of Brigadier General alongside his course mates. Now, meanwhile, newly appointed Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Leo Irabor, Friday took over as the 17th Defense Chief with a promise to ensure that Nigeria remains one united country. Irabor, who promised to offer the right leadership that would inspire the Nigerian armed forces, equally solicited the support of all Nigerians to tackle and enable the military handle the current security challenges bedeviling the country. He said he, along with other service chiefs, will in no time take action that would significantly add value to the security disposition across the country. While thanking the former chiefs of defense staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, and the former service chiefs for their contributions in curbing insecurity, Irabor said, and I quote, "Let me on this note also thank the CDs and the former service chiefs for their various contributions throughout their tenure in office." Earlier in his farewell address, the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, urged his predecessor to give his best to ensure that Nigeria remains one peaceful, indivisible country. Olonishakin, who took time to highlight some of the achievements of the military in the last 5 years, said, and I quote, "I must state that while the armed forces of Nigeria under my leadership grappled with some operational and logistic challenges, the defense headquarters has made some modest achievements aimed at improving operational capacity, logistics, and welfare needs of officers and men serving in the defense headquarters." Now, staying with stories on the service chiefs, the immediate past Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, has officially pulled out of the Nigerian Army in a parade at the Mogadishu cantonment, Asokoro, Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, on Friday. Now, in his valedictory speech during the pull-out ceremony, Buratai said he left the Nigerian Army better than he met it, adding that the army under his watch had achieved tremendous feats in the fight against insurgency and other security threats in the country. He added that he ensured adequate training of personnel and enhancement of warfare capabilities of the army, as well as prioritizing personnel welfare. Now, as the People's Democratic Party (PDP) intensifies arrangements for its planned conference on how to salvage the nation and return her to the path of peace, national cohesiveness and economic prosperity, security, economy, electoral reforms, and other essentials of national stability form the agenda for discourse. Now, the party has already commenced consultations with critical stakeholders across board on ways to rescue the nation from misrule through institutional reforms ahead of the 2020 general elections. Now, the PDP Publicity Secretary, Kola Ologbodiyan, in a statement Friday, disclosed that the national chairman of the party, Prince Uche Secondus, made the position of the party while receiving the British High Commission's Political Council on Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, the FCDO, Jonathan Bacon, at the PDP headquarters in Abuja on Friday. Now, Prince Secondus lamented the nation in her present sorry situation because all the electoral reforms achieved by the PDP to deepen its democracy prior to the 2015 general election had been destroyed by the current All Progressive Congress APC-led administration. Now, the national chairman, however, commended the international community and development partners for the support, especially in strengthening the country's electoral system, and urged them to show more interest in Nigeria's democracy ahead of the 2023 general elections. Now, Bacon had earlier told Prince Secondus that he was in the Wada Plaza to meet with the leadership of the PDP and discuss the United Kingdom-Nigeria bilateral relations. A new report from an American foundation, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, with the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office (FCDO), has revealed how Nigerian politicians use the United Kingdom's educational system as a money laundering scheme. Now, the report, titled West African Elite Spending on UK Schools and Universities, A Closer Look, was authored by the foundation's non-president scholar on democracy, conflict and governance, Matthew Page, and released on Thursday, January the 28th. Now, it revealed that over 30 million euros in fees flow into the United Kingdom private education system from West Africa, and Nigeria accounted for the majority of the fund. Commissioning the report in Abuja on Friday, the UK government British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Karintinona Lang, said the report is a follow-up of the UK assessment of bribery and corruption risk to its independent schools in December of 2020 by the UK's National Crime Agency and the Joint Money Laundering Intelligence Task Force. Ms. Lang stated, and I quote, "Tackling illicit corruption in Nigeria is critical to the country's prosperity and security and to addressing poverty and inequality," adding that the UK is working in partnership with Nigeria to tackle corruption and illicit finance and has excellent relationship with Nigerian agencies and civil society who are fighting corruption. The report acknowledged that colleges and universities in the United Kingdom are complicit in the corruption circle because the UK is still reluctant to acknowledge outside criticism of the sector's AML, that's the anti-money laundering shortcomings, or to derive lessons learned from recent anti-corruption failures. Now, adding that some have shown willingness to matriculate students linked to known and even convicted kleptocrats. Now, the report stated that it estimate 5% of university students and 30% of private boarding school students from countries in West Africa have financial links to politically exposed persons. Now, it is important to note that the overwhelming majority of Nigerian students in the United Kingdom pose no corruption risk, and their families do not pose unexplained wealth. However, many institutions are popular destinations for the children of politically exposed persons from Nigeria, including some who channel unexplained wealth into the UK educational sector. Now, one of the findings of the report also states that many Nigerian graduates in the United Kingdom are children of politically exposed persons who have been suspected or convicted of corruption-related offenses in the UK or Nigeria. Recognizing the risk illicit financial flows from Nigeria and other parts of the world pose to the United Kingdom and its educational sector, UK education institutions are beginning to incorporate anti-corruption guidelines into their practice. Moving ahead, in its bid to counter Bill Gates saying that investing in procurement of COVID-19 vaccines would not only help in the fight against the coronavirus, but will also help to strengthen the nation's primary healthcare system in the long run. The Nigerian government has said that the structure and skills that will be acquired by the country through the administration of COVID-19 vaccines contribute to the strengthening of the nation's healthcare system in the long run. Now, Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaibu, gave the Nigerian government's position on Friday in obvious response to the accession by Gates during an interview session with journalists last Tuesday. Now, the Bill and Melinda Gates co-founder had told newsmen that Nigerian government should rather invest the funds it has set aside for procurement of COVID-19 vaccines to put the country's primary healthcare system on a stronger footing, while responding to a question on the government's plans to invest about 400 billion naira in procurement of vaccines. Now, the Microsoft founder also noted that Nigeria will get free vaccines from the COVAX facility initiative being coordinated by the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, set up to ensure equitability access to the COVID-19 vaccines, and as such, there is no need for the country to raise funds to procure the medical commodity. Now, Shuaib, whose agency is in charge of vaccine administration and primary health care at the national level in Nigeria, noted that the intensive capacity building and the acquisition of new and additional cold chain equipment will, on the other hand, contribute immensely to strengthening the PH system. Now, Shuaib said long after the country had overcome COVID-19 pandemic, the lessons learned, new skills acquired by the health care workers, and the infrastructural improvements would place the country in a better stead to manage future pandemics. He added that while Nigeria appreciatively was on the global effort through the COVAX facility, the delay in accessing vaccines meant that the eligible countries will have to explore all channels to ensure fair prices, safe and effective vaccines for its populace. Shuaib added that traditional leaders in the country had pledged their support for the COVID-19 vaccines in the country, urging the federal government to procure adequate quantities of the vaccine to meet the needs of the country. The NPHCDA boss also urged Nigerians to disregard rumors about the safety of the vaccines and rely only on information from credible sources for decision making. Now, Nigeria has recorded 27 new deaths from the coronavirus, even as the country recorded 1,114 fresh infections on Friday. This was disclosed in the report published by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in the early hours of Saturday. Now, the new cases were recorded in 21 states and the Federal Capital Territory, with Lagos still leading with 408 new infections. The FCT had 95 cases, Plateau 90, Ondo 66, Kaduna 63, Oyo 56, Borno 46, Imo 42, Edo 41, Akwa Ibom 18, Delta 15, Bayelsa 6, Nasarawa 6, Zamfara and Bauchi both have one each. 102,708 are also said to have recovered, while the death toll now stands at 1,577. As the virus surge on and calls for more testing intensifies, the country is also looking to secure vaccines as soon as possible. As of Thursday, the Ministry of Health Minister of Health, I beg your pardon, Osage Hainere, said Nigeria had secured an additional 41 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. However, the delivery date for the vaccines remain unknown as manufacturers struggle to meet global demand in time. The 41 million doses were secured as part of efforts by an African Union task team to help countries on the continent gain equitable access to vaccines. Also, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, said Thursday that conscious efforts have to be made to ensure that vaccines get to everyone. Shortly after receiving his first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine in New York City, Guterres said that the world must come together if progress is to be made. Globally, at least 2,191,865 people have died from the virus since the outbreak emerged in China in December of 2019. Now, according to an AFP tally from official sources, more than 101,403 cases have been registered. The U.S. remains the country that has suffered the highest toll with 433,204 deaths, followed by Brazil with 221,547 and Mexico with 155,145. The number of deaths globally is, however, said to be underestimated as the toll is calculated from daily figures published by national health authorities and does not include later previsions by statistic agencies. This is your digital-first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You are watching TOS News 360. More stories from the international scene in just a moment. Welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned. Now, this is TOS News 360. A prominent scientist has expressed deep concern that a new vaccine only worked on half of those patients who received it in trial in South Africa. The Novavax vaccine had nearly 90% success rate in the UK, but only 49.4% efficacy in a smaller test in South Africa. Professor Salim Abou Karim, who heads South Africa's coronavirus advisory panel, warned some countries could get left behind in terms of vaccine rollout. Now, the virus in South Africa had mutated in a way that appears to make it significantly more resistant to some current vaccines. Now, in the latest trial, the Novavax vaccine proved efficient in only 49.4% of cases overall. It was 60% effective among those without HIV, but more than 20% of South Africans are HIV positive. Although some scientists here have raised these figures, Professor Karim said the success rate was deeply concerning. Now, vaccines can and will be tweaked to make them more effective against mutations of COVID-19. But Professor Karim, the most authoritative voice of the pandemic in South Africa, warned that more mutations were inevitable and that the scientific community needed to work harder to get ahead of the virus. There are already concerns that poorer countries will not get the vaccines fast enough. Professor Karim said there was now an additional risk that the richer nations would be able to achieve some level of herd immunity through the vaccines, while other parts of the world were left far more exposed to new mutations. The World Bank has committed the sum of $12 billion to African countries to support vaccination programs. The South African presidency said in a statement on its website on Saturday. Now, the World Bank money will be in the form of grants or on highly concessional terms, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said in a statement. The statement follows a January 27 virtual meeting on the Africa COVID-19 vaccine financing and development strategy, which was attended by David Malpass, president of the World Bank. Now, even in the most devastated U.S. countries, the latest COVID-19 surge is receding, buying authorities time as they attempt to vaccinate about 330 million people. Now, recent hotspots include Webb Country, Texas, Maricopa County, Arizona, and Greenville, and Spartanburg, South Carolina, just to mention a few. Now, US Facts, a non-profit statistic agitator, said centers amongst the top 5 hotspots, which population of at least 250,000, only Pinal County, Arizona, saw cases in new surges. Now, Kenya is seeking an extra 11 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines on top of 24 million already ordered, and hopes to have 16 million people inoculated by June next year. Now, sources from major pharmaceutical manufacturers like Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson the extra doses will be acquired through the African Union's Disease Control and Prevention Body. The country will obtain supplies from manufacturers directly if needed, it said. Now, Senior Health Minister official Mercy Nwagagi told reporters that the East African nation of more than 50 million people aims to vaccinate 1.25 million in phase 1 of the campaign by June this year. Now, this would cover health and care home workers as well as security and immigration personnel. The objective is to vaccinate 16 million against COVID-19 by June next year, she told a news conference. Now, as wealthier nations race ahead with mass immunization campaigns, Africa is scrambling to obtain supplies for its 1.3 billion people. Only a few nations on the continent have begun administering vaccines. On Thursday, the African Union said it had secured another 400 million doses of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines as part of its push to immunize 60% of the continent's population over a 3-year period. Now, Nwagagi said that the second phase of vaccination will involve 9.7 million people, comprising all those above 50 years of age and those above 18 years of age, while denying medical conditions running between July this year and June of 2022. Now, the third phase, to unfold concurrently with the second, will be aimed at 4.9 million people, including those living in congested areas and seen as particularly vulnerable, she said. Now, earlier this month, Mutahi Kwange, Kenya's health minister, said Kenya had ordered 24 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine developed by AstraZeneca, which is expected to start arriving in the second week of February. On Friday, Nwagagi told Reuters that Kenya plans to offer the COVID-19 vaccine shots free of charge to its citizens. She said Kenya will pay $7.70 per shot of the vaccine as negotiated under the COVAX facility. And a team of WHO experts investigating the origin of the coronavirus toured a propaganda exhibition creating China's recovery from the pandemic in Wuhan on Saturday after a meeting at the hospital that treated the first confirmed COVID-19 cases over a year ago. Now, details of the trip have been scarce so far, with the media kept at arm's length, and information on the initial dribbling or out via Twitter from the World Health Organization experts instead of China's tight-lipped communist authorities. Now, the group was driven to the hospital, the first to receive officially diagnosed COVID-19 patients in late 2019, as the horror of the virus emerged in the central Chinese city. In a tweet, the team members, Peter Daszak, welcomed the hospital visit as an important opportunity to talk directly with medics who were on the ground, at the critical time fighting COVID-19. Now, on Saturday afternoon, the team visited a Cavaros exhibition that applauds the emergency response of Wuhan health authorities in the chaotic, terrifying early stages of the outbreak, as well as the agility of the communist leadership in controlling a crisis without precedents. Now, the World Health Organization mission comes with heavy political baggage. China refuses the team access until mid-January, and there are question marks over what the experts can hope to find a year after the virus first emerged. On Friday, the World Health Organization Emergency Director Michael Ryan sought to manage expectations. The WHO insists that the probe will stick tightly to the science behind how the virus jumped from animals believed to be bats to humans. Now, the team is also expected to visit the market believed to have seen the first major cluster of infections, as well as the Wuhan Institute of Virology and other labs in what the WHO Ryan describes as a very, very busy schedule. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You are watching TOS News 360. Still ahead, business and sports. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And now to business, where Nigeria's National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, says it will do everything within its power to ensure the timeless completion of the 3.6 billion integrated gas processing and methanol plant in Odioma, Brass Island, Bayelsa State, South Nigeria. Now, Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Yeri, made the commitment at the signing of the final investment decision FID on the project, which held on Friday in Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria. Now, speaking at the event, Malam Keri said the corporation would do everything possible to make the project come to fruition. Noting that the NNPC was pleased with the current effort by the federal government to provide value for Nigeria's gas resources. Kenny Obateru said that the facility is projected to be the largest methanol plant in Africa and the first in Nigeria. The project is being executed by the Brass Fertilizer and Petrochemical Company Limited, BFPCL, an incorporated entity owned by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, DSV Engineering, and the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. Describing the FID as one of the most significant FIDs in recent times, Kerry said the project was in tandem with the earlier declaration of 2020 as the year of gas and 2021 to 2030 as the decade of gas by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. He remarked that the construction phase of the project would create about 30,000 in addition to the 5,000 permanent jobs which would come when the plant becomes operational. Now, more business as MultiChoice Nigeria on Friday slashed the prices of its DSTV and GoTV decoders, an announcement that would take effect from Monday, February the 1st, 2021. Now, the price slash will see the DSTV HD decoder dish kit with compact package subscription drop from 18,600 to 9,900. Now, speaking at a virtual meeting briefing on Friday, Chief Customer Officer, MultiChoice Nigeria, Martin Mabuto, explained the price splash is part of MultiChoice's long line of efforts to lessen the economic impact of COVID on customers and a reflection of its commitment to making quality entertainment more accessible to Nigerians. Mabuto also listed some of the company's relief strategies deployed during the first wave of the pandemic, which include cash donations of 200 million naira and 50 million naira to the federal government and Lagos state government, respectively, 400 million to the creative industry whose professionals experienced disruption in production, donation of 30,000 personal protective equipment and 30,000 face masks to hospitals and non-governmental organizations, as well as an approved inventory worth over 550 million naira, highlighting NCDC's COVID-19 helplines and PSA materials on over 10 channels on DSTV and GoTV. The discounted DSTV and GoTV bundle offer will be available from Monday, February the 1st, 2021 for a limited time only. And now to sports, where Nigeria's international Junior Ajayi and the reigning club champions of Africa, Al Ahly, arrived in Qatar on Friday night ahead of the 17th edition of the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, Egyptian giants Al Ahly, meanwhile, qualified for the tournament after winning the CAF Champions League for a record 9 time, thanks to a 2-1 victory over Zamalek of Egypt. Now, on arrival in Doha, players and officials from both clubs underwent COVID-19 testing before departing for their designated hotel. They will remain in a medical bubble throughout the tournament in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Al Ahly will enter the tournament at the second round stage and will face Qatari champions Al Duhail at the Education City Stadium on February. Kickoff time is 20:30 GMT. Now, Al Ahly will face UEFA Champions League winners FC Bayern Munich in the semi-finals if they beat Al Duhail in the major encounter. Now, six teams will compete in this year's tournament. Al Duhail, host country representatives, FC Bayern Munich, UEFA, Tigers, Undulai, CONCACAF, Al Ahly, or CAF, and Ulsan Hyundai FC of the AFC, and the SE Palmeiras or Santos FC of CONMEBOL. Now, the Oceania Football Confederation, OFC, representative Auckland City FC withdrew from the competition in light of the COVID-19 quarantine measures required by New Zealand authorities. More sports, as president of Nigeria's Football Federation, NFF, Amaju Pinnick, has been declared eligible for membership of the FIFA Council. In a letter dated January 26, the chairman of the FIFA Review Committee informed Pinnick of his eligibility for the position. Pinnick had disclosed his intention to vie for the membership of the FIFA Council, which is the highest decision-making body in world football, back in November of 2020. He had initially been tipped to join the race to become president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, but opted to join the FIFA Council instead. With his eligibility confirmed, the NFF president is inching closer to his plan of claiming one of the 2 positions on the council for the CAF Anglophone group. Now, acting CAF president Constant Selemani Omari of Congo and Alemani Kabele Kamara of Guinea are both seeking to return to their positions in the World Football Governing Body as CAF Francophone Group representatives. Pinnick was elected NFF president in 2014 and successfully ran for re-election in 2018. The Sports Council of Nigeria's Southwest State of Oyo has declared that the state has signified its intention to host the next edition of the National Sports Festival. Chairman of the State Sports Council, Gbenga Adewusi, made the disclosure to leaders of the state chapter of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, who paid a courtesy call on him at his office this week. Now, Adewusi said the political leaders and sports administrators in the pace-setting state have communicated their desire to the Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, who is an indigene of the state. The last time Oyo State hosted the National Sports Festival was in 1976. Adewusi added that the state was working to ensure that the athletes from the state will have firsthand in participating in the festival. And that is TOS News 360 on your digital first Pan-African network. For more updates, visit www.tostvnetwork.com and do follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do remember to subscribe to our YouTube page. Don't forget, TOS TV is also on TSTV as TOS News on channel 138. Join us for more programming after the news. I am Kamian John. Thanks for staying with us.